Welcome back, everyone, to our prayer journey with Mike Toth. You know, most of the preachers that I listen to today are people who have went on to be with the Lord. I like J. Vernon McGee. I like Charles Spurgeon and Tozer. And I listen to those on YouTube often. But there's a few good preachers today, and one is Tony Evans and Greg Laurie. And one day I was listening to Tony Evans, and he pointed out something, and it was a good illustration for what he was using it for, but it was also a good illustration for prayer. Because my daughter, she comes over from time to time, and when she comes over, she will quickly go to my thermostat and adjust that thermostat to the temperature that she wants. She will eat my favorite foods because she likes them. And it's her house as opposed to my house, which I guess you get with kids. And Tony Evans was talking about that with us. And he was saying how his son comes home from college and makes the house too cold for him or too hot. And we experience the same thing because there are children and we give them a little leeway. But the problem that arises with this kind of unquestionable resiliency to run over your house is that they think they're sovereign when you really pay the bills and you're sovereign. And that was his point. And I bring this up because when we go to prayer to God and it doesn't go our way, and I mentioned this in another video, well, we can get a little baby-like and stop praying. Or we may just say, what's the use of praying? God's not hearing what I'm saying. And we're going to look at Psalm 10 today, and I'm going to read through it verse by verse and explain this same attitude that the psalmist has when this is laid to his heart. So it starts off like this in the first two verses. Why standest thou afar off, O Lord? Why hidest thyself in times of trouble? The wicked in his pride do persecute the poor. Let them be taken in their devices that they have imagined. All right, so he's talking here, God, what's going on? Why are you waiting and allowing these people to do these bad things? He goes on in verse 4. The wicked, through the pride of his countenance, will not seek after God. God is not in all his thoughts. In fact, he's not in any. Verse 5. His ways are grievous, thy judgments are far above out of his sight. As for his enemies, he puffeth at them. He's not afraid of anything. Look at that psalmist's complaint. That's the same complaint we got. You know, when I have some of my grandchildren over and they don't get what they want, they may whine, walk away. And, they don't understand. You know, sometimes when you tell them not to do something because it's going to hurt them, they haven't a clue why. They think you're being mean to them when you're only looking out for them. And, we have to keep in mind that God is sovereign and he knows what's going on and we don't. All right, so this psalm continues to go on. All right, they have no desire to seek after God. So we're going to pick it up here and read through 6 verse and 7. He saith in his heart, I shall not be moved, for I shall never be in adversity. He's in control of his own future. This is what the godless man says. His mouth is full of deceit. His mouth is full of cursing and deceit and fraud, and under his tongue is mischief and vanity. So, you can't touch me, God, or I don't even care if you exist, God. I can go about doing what I want. And God's children look on and say, what is going on? I'm praying and he's not hearing me. And these people are having half run over our lives. And boy, do we see that in our country today. Why? This is the devil's reign. The devil rules here. Now, oftentimes you hear people say, when somebody dies, he's in a better place. Meanwhile, the guy may have been a crook. Some people don't want to believe that there's a hell. They just think God's going to let everybody go to heaven. How could you let people go to heaven that are doing these particular things that are here? I'm going to read some of the things that they're doing. In verse 8, this is about the wicked man. He sitteth in lurking places of villages. In the secret places do he murder the innocent. His eyes are privily sent against the poor. There's been the greatest transfer of wealth these last few years with the pandemic that there has ever been. Why? Because these big companies are being able to put out of business and suck off of the poor people. Sure, it's better for the time being that people get things cheaper. What happens when they have total control over things? This is one of the complaints. He lied in wait secretly as a lion in his den. He's hiding. He lied in wait to catch the poor. He do catch the poor when he draweth them into his net. How many politicians control the votes of the poor based on promises that they do not keep? This is what this is talking about. Are all people going to go to heaven because they lived and because they took advantage of people, even if they did it slyly? All right, he crouched and he humbled himself that the poor may fall by his strong ones. He had said in his heart, God had forgotten. He hideth his face. He will never see it. This is the attitude many people have today that are milking the poor and milking people and wanting to make them be, I can compare it to be gerbils in a cage. We should go about doing our work and supporting everything. So I can understand the psalmist saying, why are you so far off? And today people saying, why are you far off? I don't know if I can pray anymore. And that is the wrong attitude. That is the error. From one of the past videos I did, I like to watch these survival shows. The one animal I've never seen them catch is the fox. They try to trap the fox and he outfoxed them every time. And not only that, in some episodes, the fox outfoxed them again by taking what they trapped and stealing the food from them. You see, these people have that attitude. I'm too foxy. These people aren't going to catch on, and there's no God to be accountable to. So you see, to have justice, there's got to be a God to be accountable to. Or everybody could do what's right in their own eyes. And that's what many of these people do. Not all, but many. I thought about this. I'm going to read verse 12 to 18. But before I get there, I want you to thinking about that survival kind of thing. If you didn't get what you wanted and you had to eat tree bark or grass, or some herbs to survive, you would do it. You would not stop eating because things weren't going your way, didn't taste the way you wanted it to. No, you would continue going on and trying to survive, to find the food that you need to sustain you. And prayer is the sustainer of a Christian's life. Everything we should be done is in prayer and supplication to the Lord, and in thanksgiving, asking and thanking God for the things that we have. If we stop praying, we cut ourselves off from the vine, and we die spiritually. And then our prayers have no power. No, the Lord doesn't want you to do that. Let me close out this psalm. Arise, O Lord, O God, lift up thy hand, forget not the humble. Wherefore do the wicked contemn God? He had said in his heart, thou wilt not require it. In verse 14, thou hast seen it, for thou beholdest mischief and spite, to requite it with the hand. The poor committed himself unto thee. Thou art a helper of the fatherless. Put your trust in Jesus Christ. Break thou the arm of the wicked and the evil man. Seek out his wickedness till thou found none. In verse 16, to remember that God is in control. The Lord is king forever and ever. The heathen are perished out of the land. The Lord that has heard the desires of the humble, thou wilt prepare thy heart. Thou wilt cause thy ear to hear. To judge the fatherless and the oppressed man of the earth, that they may no more be oppressed. God hears you. Keep praying. Wait upon the Lord. When the answer comes, it's going to be a greater blessing